But if we want to stay in this country, then we need to put our shoulder to the wheel and we need to make it work. Not just for us, but for the future generations. And this is what we are trying to do. I mean, for all the volunteers in Erpm, none of us are paid. We don't get paid. In fact, most of the time, we're taking out of our own pockets to keep the organization running. I mean there's cost to everything, and you would know that. But we do this. But we do it for the community. We do it because we want to help people. Majority of the people who come to us have there's no one that they can go to. And they find hope when they come to us. And just helping individuals is what keeps us motivated and keeps us going. And we want to see a better city. We want to see a better city. And we want to see a better future for everyone, not just for people from Westville. We want to see a better future for every person in the city. So I don't want to spend too much of time, preaching. I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about. I'm happy to take questions on any matter that was raised tonight, and even suggestions. I'm happy to take those questions.
Anyone? Great. Just observing a few protocols. Welcome, Councillor Byrne, Councillor Brataseth. Thank you for coming this evening.
Okay, so good evening to everyone. Yeah, thanks, Rose Azad. Is that how you say your name? Because I've seen you in the paper, but I haven't actually been part of these discussions or meetings. So I think a key, and it's, say again? Oh, let me start there. Yeah, my name is Kumaran Pillai. Just call me Kum, K-U-M, keep it simple. And it's good to meet all of you all. I believe there's about 100 people in the audience tonight. And I'm not sure how many people are online. But I think if this is the critical mass we have, then I don't think we stand a chance. And I'm not sure why. I've interacted with Mel a bit at the back. She may not know me in person, but in terms of some correspondence when it was needed. Nice seeing you, Mel. We'll touch after the meeting. But I think the key is the unity thing that you brought to the fore. And it's not a question, but an observation. Somehow we are not united. And I'm not sure why. We understand the issues on the ground. We understand how atrocious the situation is. It's untenable. It's an untenable situation. We've got to move. We've got to have the momentum and then the critical mass to be able to address this together with these leaders that are in front of us that are actually very passionate about what they present tonight. And I think the facts and the figures speak for themselves. So I'm just going to look at my quick notes here just to guide me. I think as far as the time that has gone by now, personally I can say that I have not really been fully invested in such discussions as a start, and then the movement that you speak about and the activism that goes with that as well. I think there's a big need. But just in terms of why are we in the situation of non-unity, I think that for me is the key. And I don't have any ideas immediately, but certainly it's something that I'm going to be looking at more personally in terms of having more thought around it to see how to move forward. I think I'd like to touch with Mel as well. I'm in the ward that Mel is leading, So to see where things are. I think you've made a comment, which was a big one, in terms of the budget that has been presented is incomplete and still gets voted through. So I think, Mel, that's something that, I'd like some feedback on, maybe not tonight, but we can have dialogue later. But there's quite a few members that would want to know, have answers to that. So I think I just wanted to say that as a start, and also pledge my support, but beyond that, my allegiance in terms of what you're saying. It does resonate with me very strongly tonight. And I think, each and every one of us that are in this room tonight, if we can actually be the catalyst beyond, I think that's what would make a difference. So thanks for the floor and some airtime. I appreciate that, Rose and Assad. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions? We have a roaming mic and everything, guys. Come on. Anyone?
I might, whilst you're a bit shy and you're scared to ask any questions, I just want to also state that as an organization, we'll be challenged, and we know that. We've been challenged many times. But we also put our hands up first. And we said, any party that's in council right now, or any councillor that's elected right now, you want help with this budget, come to us, we'll help you. We'll show you. When we're telling you it's incomplete, come sit with us, we'll show you what's missing. We'll show it to you. We're not just throwing, what's the word? Sweets, Smarties. We're not throwing Smarties around. We know what we're talking about. And we will show you what you need to ask. We will point you in the right direction. We're willing to do that. And no one's taken us up. Well, one party has taken us up already.
I have two hands. Ladies. Who's going first?
Mary Ann Bowden. I just wanted to ask, how would you coordinate a non-payment thing? How get started with that? That might be an option.
Did you hear the question, Chair?
Partly.
How would we coordinate a diversion campaign, non-payments? If you could take the floor through that, please.
So in the previous diversion, this was the process. We set up, as an organization, we set up a separate bank account from Erpm. We were challenged on that as well, because many came to us and said, no, but it needs to be in the name of the lawyer and this, and we don't know you, and if we give you your money, our money, you'll take our money and you'll run away with there was all those stories. But long story short, we set up a separate bank account. And what we then did was, you had to register as a member. You then got a profile under Erpm. And through that profile, you then paid your money with your account number. There was a whole lot of stuff that went behind it. And it went into that bank account, and it was held in trust in that account for 3 months. And then obviously when the matter went to court and we lost, and we then had to pay the municipality, we as the association then paid this account on your behalf, on your account number, and we paid it to the cent. There was not a single cent that was not accounted for. So we do have the mechanisms and we do have the processes. However, this time around, the team at the back and this lady in the front here, they have kind of streamlined a much more better process, so to speak. We've learned from that experience, but there is a mechanism, obviously through the paid membership, into your profile, because again, there are bank charges, etc., associated with us taking your monies. And what we're calling for, again, guys, and I need to say this, and maybe they'll change it because they're hearing me say this. When you don't pay your account, and it's a policy that within the municipality, When you don't pay account, they don't disconnect you on the first month. For those who haven't paid, you will know this. And if you haven't paid on the second month, they still give you a second month grace. But by the third month, if you haven't paid, expect to be disconnected. So what we are then saying, and we saw this with the last diversion campaign, they only took action on us on the third month because that's how they function. So we're saying if every single ratepayer for 1 month, every single ratepayer withheld their money, whether by themselves or through us, you will definitely make them sit up and listen to you, which is what we want. It's a tough one.
I see your hand, I recognize you, but there was a hand in the back just before. Do you still have a question? Excellent.
Sorry, I hope I answered the question.
Is your question answered?
Nikki Holst. I'm just wondering, there was, I think it was last year, that how to recruit people, and that was going up and down our roads. Has that happened? Yeah, because, well, otherwise, if each neighbor speaks to their neighbor, and then that neighbor speaks to that neighbor, and sort of light the fire in that way, it might be easier to hang over the wall than to walk up and down the road.
We're going to start a Hang Over the Wall campaign. Everybody buckle up.
Hi, I'm Asia Lakat, first-time homeowner. Well, I think the lady behind me had just asked the question that I was expecting to ask. But the thing is, we have a very minuscule, improportionate representation here of the Ratepayers Association. And I was just wondering how we could go about on a mass protest, as whether it would be through advertising. I think word of mouth is quite not too promising, but would advertising be something that we could do? Flyers, brochures, etc. And the second question is, if we are taken up legally, how are the costs borne and by whom? Sorry, I have another question about the new water meters. I don't know if it's appropriate for me to ask.
Ask the question.
Okay. So residents on my street have been consulted on our chat. There seems to be a problem with new water meters that have been installed at the beginning of December. And I had an issue personally where my water bill had escalated from 500 Rand to 5,000 Rand, and then 8,000 Rand, and then 14,500 Rand. I was asked to investigate any leakage in the property. I've had 3 different inspections. There were no leakages in the property, yet municipality has insisted that there's a leak. Now, when I asked the question on our chat, community chat, if there were any others that were experiencing this problem, I had at least 8 responses from the same street saying that they've had exorbitant water bills. I don't know what the problem is. I've been to the municipality water department, sat for 5 hours. I've had no luck whatsoever, and I really don't know what to do about that. So if you can answer both those questions. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, look, I mean, to get the critical mass and to use advertising, flyers, leaflets, etc., yes, that would definitely help. As an association, we are totally reliant on membership fees. We do some fundraising, and we do have some individuals who are donating to the organization on a regular basis, small amounts, 500,000 in a month, etc., etc. So we rely on that. We rely on that income to run the organization and to keep the fires burning, so to speak. We don't have a lot of that. Obviously, if we had more, we would advertise more, and we would go, put a flyer in every post box, or stand at every robot, or put a print in every newspaper, so to speak. But we don't have the luxury to spend funds or spend money in that regard. In fact, 98% of our income goes towards our legal costs, so servicing those legal costs. We do have Norton Rose as our legal firm, and as you would know, they're not cheap. They're quite expensive, and we have to ensure that we meet our commitments insofar as those legal costs are concerned. So much of what we do with the membership fees and with donations and with fundraising goes towards ensuring that we are able to make sure that we are legally protected in terms of what we do. So I hope I answered that question. It's a two-in-one answer. And then the last one, insofar as the water meter issues are concerned, there are many factors. So ideally what needs to happen is most people need to be responsible. You need to know what your average consumption is per month. That's the first step. And if you see that your consumption is beyond what the expectation is, depending on the number of people that stays in the house, then you would immediately know that there is a problem. And in most instances, from our experience, we found that many individuals, especially for houses like in Westville, the older houses, etc., they do tend to pick up a water leak. It's either in the cistern, or it's in the washer, or an underground leak which is not visible. But what we then do is we then ask them to monitor the reading on the meter, and we or ask them to look at it at a specific time. So if it's 8 o'clock in the morning, do that for at least a couple of days, 3 days, 5 days, 7 days. It'll give you an indication in terms of the volume of water that's being used. If that volume is high, then obviously there's a problem, and then you need to do a leak test. A leak test more than likely would find the issue. Then if the leak is found, it is repaired, and then you go through the normal process of putting a water loss claim, etc., and that gets sorted out. But what we also found, and these are the anomalies which the municipality is not looking at to address, and we find this mainly like in areas like Phoenix, Asherville, where there's water shedding. So the municipality, either the reservoir has run out, or there is a repair or whatever, and the water is shut off. When they recommission the pipe, the air that is coming through the pipes tends to move the meters, and it spins it far faster than the water. And if you are in an area where there's frequent water shedding, then more than likely you are being affected with that. We've taken it up with the municipality. Their pushback is that there are air release valves which are supposed to release the air and through the valve rather than it coming through the houses. But I challenge any one of you to drive through Westville and go and see the condition of those air release valves. They're rusted closed. So they haven't serviced them. Some of them don't even work. And you are the witness to your own situation, because you hear it when you open the tap. You'll hear the sound of the air rushing through your taps, and it's going to affect you. More than likely, it will affect you.
Everything that you said is the protocol that I have followed. We have switched off the meter, and as soon as I open it again, it races by double digits and triple digits. So, I've been to municipalities. Yes, absolutely. And municipalities really not coming back. They put my account on hold for another month. But how do you deal with a 14,500 rand water bill? One person.
So the procedure.
Is it the water? Sorry. What I'm trying to also figure out is why did they have to change the meters when the meters were, I mean, we could have saved the money and utilized it in other ways. These meters were functional. There was a meter that was actually replaced 2 years ago. And just to put you into the picture of the inefficiency of the department, when they had changed the meter on their own volition, they hadn't changed the meter number to my premises. And I was being billed for somebody else's water consumption. So, yeah.
You're talking about the inefficiency of the department, and there's many of that. So, one, you're getting, so firstly, it's the wrong meter on your account. Then there's the incorrect reading on your account. There's so many things that are happening now. And mind you, I just need to remind everyone here. So at one point, they were not reading the meters. And as the association, we went and put pressure on the municipality and said, no, we can't. In fact, in this very hall, we made the mayor commit to that, to say, if you don't have the capacity to come and read my meter, then you have to take my reading. Because you're not coming to take it, so take my reading. You have a problem, challenge us. So they accepted that, and then they were accepting readings being sent from the community. And that worked very well. And lo and behold, again, they sit in council in the glass houses, they take a resolution, and they say, no. Now let's just consolidate water and electricity, let's give it to our own in-house people, and they will go out and they will read your meter. And guess what? They don't take your reading anymore. You can send it via WhatsApp, you can send it via email, you can put it on the app, you can put it on an arrow and shoot it to City Hall. They still won't accept that reading. It's not going to work because they've taken a council resolution to say they're not accepting readings from the community. They will only take the reading from the meter reader. And over and above that, what they've gone and done is that the meter readers are only going to come to you every 90 days. So, which means they'll come and take the reading. The following month it'll be an estimate. The following month it'll be an estimate. And in the third month they're going to come and read your meter. And in between, what happens? You will find that there's a fluctuation. You will find, for those of you who received your bill last month, you'll find your electricity is slightly higher because of that. So now, again, we compromised. But when you speak to the representatives, the people who we elected, and say these are our problems, they're not listening to us. It's like, oh, it's a council resolution, what must we do? Coming back to you, your first port of call is your councillor. You need to go to your councillor and say, help me with this. There's an incorrect billing, this, and they're supposed to direct you to it. But if they don't, then come to us. We'll help you. We're more than happy to help you. We've helped many people in the city, and we continue to help many people, especially with cases like yours. Sorry, there's a hand at the back.
I don't know who came first, Lubna but you are next. Okay.
Thanks. Hi, my name is Lubna Nadvi. Thank you, Asad and Rose and team, for everything that you do. I agree with you that something has to be done, and the conversation that we've been having, especially on the WhatsApp groups and so on, highlight that. I mean, there's so many deep sort of reflections on what needs to be done, how it should be done, and so on. So I'm thinking through the mechanics of, firstly, what is to be done, and secondly, how it is to be done, because I think that's really the reason for why we are here. It seems to me that you've spoken about the budget. The budget needs to be fixed. So it seems to me that that is one item, one to-do thing that has to be done. The second thing is that we have to get better leadership, competent leadership, honest leadership, accountable leadership. And the only time that we would get the opportunity to do that is at the local government elections. So it seems to me that is item to do number 2, that is a project that will take us some time to actually get there, but it's something that has to actually start now. I'm just thinking, in the city of eThekwini, the population is roughly 3.3 million, if I got my stats correct. 3.9, okay. So how many of that population are actually ratepayers? Because then you need to... 75,000. 575, okay. So the question then is, in comparison to the overall population, do we have the capacity to be able to reach the people we need, to get the message to those people in the languages that they will understand and be able to act on, in the way that they're able to act on? The average citizen, I'm sorry if I'm giving a long talk, but I'm just reflecting and I'm just sharing. The average citizen is so overwhelmed with bread and butter issues, living their everyday lives, that very few really have the time and luxury to engage in politics and political participation. And that is a truth that I'm sharing. And I think that we have to understand that reality. So how do we get the message across to the maximum number of people that will actually come to the space that we want to bring them to and actually act on what we need to do? So I'm saying we need to figure out the mechanics of these things. And there were other suggestions made just now about the, reaching out to the neighbors, reaching out through other ways, mass mobilization and so on. I think pretty much everyone has a cell phone. I think that we can find ways to get messages to people outside of WhatsApp groups, outside of, those kinds of technologies. So I'm just thinking that we actually need to reach people who are actually not ratepayers, that are going to vote in the local government elections, but don't pay taxes and they are not ratepayers. You need to reach them. So that is, I think, item to do 3. So I just leave it at that, and it's about trying to get those things done in the best way possible. Thanks.
Thank you, Lubna.
Salient as always. Lubna, thank you. Take another question.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Rose. I just want to respond to the lady's problem, Mr. Chair. If you've got the app on your phone, and it's for the past 2 years, it's been on there now. And for the last 2 years, I haven't had a problem. And prior to that, for the last 13 years, prior to that, via email, there's never been a problem. So, ma'am, if you want, I'll give you my details. I'll show you how to go about it. If you go to Prior Road, and you can be sorted. But I'll give you the information. Okay. Okay. Mr. Chair, I'm on Ward 23 and Ward 25. And I looked at the groups. There's approximately 2,500 people on that group that read my message as a reminder for today's meeting. That is Ward 23 and Ward 25. How many are here from Ward 23 and Ward 25? And I sent it out about 5 hours ago as a reminder today. And I put it out when it first came out. I put it on there on Ward 23 and Ward 25. And there's not even 50 people from here from Ward 23 and Ward 25, and there's 2,500 on the group. So it shows, I don't know, the apathy. But on the group, you hear the bitching and the moaning of the water and the lights every day. Reservoir Hills, every day. If it's not the water, it's the lights. If it's not the lights, it's the water. And in Ward 25, practically every day, Ward 25, lights, water. But where are those people? But they bitch and moan on the group, but they're not here. They're not prepared to join the group like you that we're advocating. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Another question? Marcus. Chair.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Marcus Richards. I'm from Ward 63. I'm a part of Erpm, and I'm going to stand as a candidate for Ward 63 for the political movement. 2 weeks ago, Mike Mabuyukulu, who is a spin doctor for President Ramaphosa, painted a very rosy picture of the state of a eThekwini municipality. And I promise you, I actually pulled over to one side on the freeway and I thought to myself, these guys are a bunch of mother trucking liars. But I use a real word, unfortunately. And this is what we actually are dealing with. In the height of 2022 floods, the Hans Detman Bridge was washed away and the Blundell Bridge was washed away, which meant that people from Chatsworth, surrounding areas, Queensborough, Savannah Park, Shallcross, Malvern, were basically trapped in their homes. We had one way out. And one way out, unfortunately, were bordered the informal settlement. And we were basically held prisoners in our own communities. And as community activists, we basically built the bridges at our own cost, with no help from municipality whatsoever. The only thing that happened was the previous premier, I forget his name. Sorry? No, the previous party? He is now still with government. The guy that lived in La Lucia that had a water tank in his yard, I forget his name. Yes. So basically, he said that during the floods, he hit the ground running. And I challenged him and said, you hit the ground running, but you ran in the opposite direction. So this is what we're actually dealing with. And as activists on the ground, we've played major roles in getting our community and taking care of our people. And I think what, as the gentleman said, in Ward 25 and Ward 23, the number of people that are here, apathy and complacency is going to kill us. And the government knows that. They are masters at dividing and ruling. They will play the race card. They will play, like at the moment, last year we fought them successfully for building houses, low-cost houses in our parks and our recreational areas. And the reason they put behind why we're objecting is the fact that we are racists. So they will come up with all sorts of excuses, but at the end of the day, we all know these guys are highly incompetent. Something is rotten in the state of eThekwini. As Hamlet said, something's rotten in the state of Denmark. And it's time that each one of us, regardless of our financial status, or where we live, whether you live in Westville, La Lucia, or whether you live in Shawcross or Chatsworth, any low-income area, the battle is yours and the battle is mine. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something right now. The enemy is at the gates. What are we going to do about it? Thank you.
Thank you, Marcus. Yes.
Hi, my name's Belinda. I agree. When it comes to politics, I sort of see it in this vision. Poly stands for many, and ticks, well, they blood-sucking animals. So that's what our politics are. They not here to save us. We are the only ones that actually can save ourselves. I don't have the answers of how, that's why we are tonight. But I do think our power is in ratepayers not paying the municipality, because that will bring them to their knees. I mean, that's just one thing that I can think of. But I do think we can't rely on them to save us, and we need to stand together and try and get as many people to back yourselves.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're coming back to Kum, and then we're going to hand back over to you for answers.
Yeah, thanks. Just a word of thanks to Mel Brotterset at the back there. I'm in Ward 18, and certainly it's the support that we get from Mel is phenomenal. I think she really does. She's very professional and very on top of issues. So I just wanted to give that type of thanks. It's not, I mean, that's obviously it happens in small pockets, I guess, and that's why we have a lot of complaints today. But I just wanted to keep this brief, but as far as tonight goes, we are talking about rates, right? I mean, the name of your movement has rates in it as a start. So I think that's our port of call, in terms of our point of, I wanted to say point of departure. I think we really need to focus somewhere. We have a lot of complaints. We have a lot of anger as well, but I think we need to put that aside. We need to remain objective. So what are we here tonight for is the rates. What I haven't heard is the perspective on the rates in terms of the facts of the matter, in terms of municipal valuations, for instance. As each individual in this room, as maybe a homeowner, looked at their municipal valuation and went through the process of ascertaining in an objective way whether that valuation is fair, right? So that's the first thing. What I haven't heard is whether this organization can be an umbrella body to steer initiatives and efforts in a collective, unified way. And if that's the case, then I think that's where we need to be very quickly. We need some sort of agreement that there is this type of collective under this umbrella body. So I'm not hearing that, so maybe some feedback on that. And also, like I touched on, Mel is here in a capacity. How are we working in close conjunction with ward councillors like Mel and others as well? You know, maybe there are lots of councillors, I believe, from what all the complaints I'm hearing, there's lots of councillors that don't deliver like Mel. And this is not a PR campaign here, right? It's just straightforwardly from the heart, matter of factly. It's based on results. Okay, so I want to leave it there, but I want us to be very focused in terms of what we leave here with tonight. What do we want to do? How are we going to be contributing to the cause? I think you touched on membership, if that can help. And I think it's an insignificant amount, right, per annum, for instance. I just looked at it a few days ago. It's an insignificant amount. Now, I'm not a member, but I'm definitely going to become a member. So that contributes to the cause. That's one way each of us can actually then put our money where our mouth is, basically, let's say. Okay, and give to the cause and support these leaders that are in front of us and others amongst them that champion this. I think we know that we have many problems to deal with, but let's tackle them objectively. Let's be very, very focused in terms of what we're targeting. Let's say over the next month. I think rates is a big issue, right? So if I could hear from Assad, what sort of quantum are we looking at in terms of the tariffs, and how much are they out of kilter? Maybe to give us sort of a range in terms of a percentage that municipal values are far inflated, right? And that poses certainly a problem to all of us. So I'm hoping that everyone has gone through that process. Has everyone put in their objection? And if we're sitting in this room today and we haven't objected to the tariffs proposed for rates, then I think we can get help from Assad. I mean, if you look at their website, it tells you that you can get the support. So I've said a lot, and that's a mouthful, but I want to keep things objective. So, and we really need, if we haven't put in our objection to the tariffs, then you really haven't started your journey, and you haven't contributed to the cause. That's something that you can do. Yes, you need to get help. And I think these type of leaders can help us, together with the ward councillor possibly as well. You know, they can guide in terms of the process, the objection process. You know, getting the objection form should be simple enough. I've certainly objected. So I can stand here and be counted, but also speak from a place of being, you know, gone fully through the process and being quite informed. So even I can help others as well. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I didn't touch on the rates aspect because I thought by now many of you either objected, or if you required that assistance, you would have approached us. But I will touch on it. So again, when we need to understand that property valuations are done every 4 years in terms of the Property Rates Act. And there is a valuation rule that then gets published. And in terms of the legislation, you, as an individual, you need to make the first move to establish what the value of your house is. Whilst the law does state that the municipality needs to make certain provisions in terms of advertising the valuation role and gazetting it and. But if you don't get to see that, it's your fault, basically. So we've been highlighting this and we've been pushing the links, and in many instances, we helped individuals to download the evaluations and the objections form. So we've got a team that's been focused on that and have been assisting many of our members and non-members in that regard. What we also then picked up was that the time frame for many of these individuals was very, very close. So we wrote to the municipality and we said, hey, hold on. The time frame that you're giving individuals to actually look and get assessments and fill out the objections and whatever is too close. And then the municipality responded back to us to say, but no, we managed we've given every one of us 90 days. And they counted this from the 14th of February. So from the 14th of February till they opened it up, they said, we gave you 90 days. So we said, okay, fine. We agree that you did advertise this. However, we're telling you we want an extension. And we wrote to them and we said, and we gave our reasons. We said, give us an extension. And they had to give us an extension. And we'll claim that victory because that's what we did. Other parties and political parties will say, nah, we did this, we spoke in council, blah, blah, blah. You did nothing. And you never did anything before. But anyway, we requested it and they gave it to us. So the extension has been given till the end of this month. So for anyone who still is struggling and doesn't understand the basis of the objection, because again, we don't want to flood the city with objections just because I can't afford to pay my rates. That's not a valid objection. So it needs to be a valid objection. There's certain criteria in so far as what you need to object or what you can object on. And for many individuals, we've guided them and we've helped them in that process. In fact, as an organization, if you come to our offices, you'll see we've got a stack of objections that we're collating and we're taking on behalf of our members because we're managing that process for them, which we will then take to the city and put them in on their behalf. So we've managed that process. Insofar as the organization is concerned, and to Lubna's question, how do we then reach out to those individuals who are more interested in the political arm of Erpm, because Rose did mention that we have the activist movement, which we will continue to run with, but we also want to enter into the political space, and for many reasons. And comes back to the comment that you made. If the councillors were doing their jobs, all 112 or all 222 of them, then we as an organization, we wouldn't exist. Why would we exist? If every single councillor in the city was doing their job, we won't exist, because you go to your councillor. Many of the people are going to the councillors are not getting help. And many people who are in the councillors group, and when you criticize the councillor, they kick you off the group. So then who do you go to? And then if you go to a councillors meeting and you call the councillor out, then the councillors' cheerleaders hound you. So then you give up. You're like, why must I go to this meeting? Because when I challenge the councillor is getting upset. You're not listening to what we're saying. You're not hearing what we're saying. You're not hearing our complaints. So if the councillors did their jobs, we won't exist. In fact, we keep saying this. We keep saying that if the system worked, we don't need to do this. We don't get paid to do this. Councillors get paid to service the community. We don't get paid. We do this for free. We do this voluntarily. But try and get hold of your councillor at the most critical time. You won't. You'll struggle. And for whatever reason, they ain't meetings, whatever. So maybe the system's broken. But we can't be in a situation where we're saying, we got a councillor, the councillor is great, but then the ward is falling to shambles. If you're saying the councillor is great, show me one ward in eThekwini that is A+. Show it to me. Show me one ward in eThekwini. In the budget, each ward has specific votes that need to happen in terms of projects. Sometimes the councillors don't even know what's supposed to happen in their ward. How? How? It's budgeted. I don't know. I don't know how we reach this point. And this is why we're saying, let's have those conversations. Let's have those conversations. And we want to have these conversations at a senior level. And if what we're saying is not true, then challenge us. Challenge us. And we'll challenge you. But let's have those conversations. Because what we all want is for the system to work. We can't have a situation where you have a public representative, but he's not representing you, or he or she is not representing you, who's not taking your concerns, because like I said, it's the ratepayers who fund this budget. So if we fund this budget, we should have the loudest voice. Without us, how is the city going to function? In order for a municipality to exist, there's 3 things that is required. The first is there needs to be a land, because you can't have a municipality in the sky, so there needs to be land. The second thing is there needs to be a community. So you need the land, you need the community. And the third thing is the administration. None of these can function without the other. The administration cannot function without income. And the income is coming from where? It's coming from services, coming from rates. It's coming from people who are diligent, who are paying the city. But there are many in the city who are not paying for services. And we understand that there needs to be that cross-subsidization. We accept that. But when you're coming to us and you're telling us you're addressing an imbalance of the past, but when we go and look at the past, there's nothing that's been balanced. Nothing. Go to Chesterville, go to Claremont. It's not being balanced. But you're taking the money from us, and you're saying you want to do this, and then you come to us and you still want to say double-digit increase. And we are saying, hold on, why wasn't this draft not interrogated? Why was the final year-end report not interrogated? Why is the AG report not interrogated and debated in council? Why? Are we afraid? Are we afraid that if we open these conversations in council, we'll get taken out? What is it? Something is not right. If the AG report is telling you there's a material deficiency in the report, you haven't reported on this, there's repeat offenses, and we just sitting in the VW looking at the daisies, we're not concerned about it. 58% water loss in the city. 58%. 58%. If you had a business and your business was selling water and 58% of your water was getting stolen or lost, you won't be here. But where are those voices that are speaking out about this? We're bleeding 300 million rand a day on water.
30 million.
Sorry, 30 million. 30 million rand a day, every day, going in the gutter. If I was a councillor, I wouldn't sleep. I would not sleep. I'll go and chain myself in council till they fixed something or did something about the water. You can laugh, Mel. You can laugh. But we cannot put ourselves in the situation. How? It's unacceptable, and I get it. Because of that 58%, there's non-revenue, which needs to go to previously advantaged. We've been calling for that. Tell us, meter it. How much of this water is going as non-revenue, actual non-revenue, and how much of it is lost? Because drive around the city, you'll see the water losses. You don't have to be a rocket science. It's just leaking. And if the water is being wasted, because again, go and do the maths. Go and do a 5% saving on this loss. and see how much of revenue you bring back into the system. As a normal person, it tells you that go and fix this. Fix this. And what should be the discussions in council is to fix that, to demand that we fix this water loss, reduce this water loss. If they don't discuss anything else, the only thing that they should be discussing in council is the water loss. Because many of us are affected. You can go without electricity, guys, for days. Try to go without water. For those individuals in Sherwood, every single day, every single night, why is there no water? Why is there no water? What is the councillor doing? What is the councillor doing? Please talk to us. Please call a meeting. Please do this. Please do this. Why? I don't have water. 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't have water. Every day there's no water. People are going through this. They are suffering. And what we do? Nothing. 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 It's unacceptable. It's totally unacceptable. And I promise you guys, if we had the money, we would take the city to court again on that matter. Sorry, they're telling me to shut up.
I'd like to address to your point of collaboration, and the matter goes deeper. We have a leadership crisis, not just in eThekwini, but that's where we're focused, and we have a leadership crisis. I want you all sitting here today to imagine you're a ward councillor. Just for a second. Imagine you're a ward councillor in a broken eThekwini, and in your ward, you have passionate and dedicated volunteers and activists who just want what you want. They want the city to work. And imagine, as a councillor, seeing that activist and volunteer, instead of a patriot and an ally, a threat. Imagine dismissing that activist, disregarding and completely ignoring them and hoping that by ignoring them they'll go away. You're doing your community any favors. Stop imagining, because that's the reality in eThekwini, across the spectrum, across all political parties. The Erpm has been dismissed, ignored, treated as hostile and anti certain parties just because we ask hard questions. Because we're patriots, because we care, because we love this city. Those are the leaders. Sorry guys, can we have one meeting? Those are the leaders that we're at the mercy of. Those are the leaders that have iced us out, and those are the leaders that have forced us into the political arena because they wouldn't listen. Because make no mistake, the Erpm has absolutely no political ambition. We don't want to be in that house. We have to be. None of us wanted to be politicians. The move is a reluctant one, but it's one of necessity. And it's one I hope you're going to support. And the second thing I just wanted to echo. Chair mentioned Chesterville, Claremont. Many people have come to us and said, yeah, but you're a ratepayers association. You fight only for ratepayers. And to a certain extent, that's true. But I want you guys to think about the fact that our organization, what sets us apart from other ratepayers associations in eThekwini and why not all of them are aligned to the Erpm, is that we actually champion for our money to be put to its purpose where they say they're going to put it to its purpose. Just tagging on to what Asad said about, yeah, well, where the project's happening in Chesterville, where the project's happening in Richmond Farm, where the project's happening in Umlazi, in non-rate paying communities, because we're funding it. And we deserve to know that our money is being put to its purpose. None of us are fighting about the cross-subsidy. We demand it. We just want what's fair, what's just, and what's right. And we believe that because we've been at the mercy of shocking leadership for too long, we know what it takes to be a good leader. We know what we were shut out of, and may we never make those mistakes. May we never treat patriots, activists, and volunteers with disdain and disregard. And if we ever do, I really hope that every single one of you are going to call us out. I'd like for you to promise us that. Thank you. Were there questions? Come, I'm going to give somebody else a chance for a second.
Hi everyone, my name is Sailan Naidu. I just want to say I actually agree with the chair when he talks about ward councillors aren't doing their job. Because if they were doing their job, they'd be holding meetings, they would be actively engaging with the community. I know even in my ward, my ward councillor does not hold meetings, does not have a functional ward committee. And those are the instruments that are supposed to be used to empower residents. And I mean, look, I didn't even know about eThekwini Rates Association. I had to seek you guys out. And I feel like it should be the other way around. And I think it goes back to, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, man, but I'm just gonna say my comrade over there. About actually going out into communities and doing a whole grassroots strategy of engaging with them. And I have two questions. One of it was, has the association identified bases? Do they have active bases or branches in the different regions in the municipality? If not, are there plans to identify relative representatives in those regions to establish these branches and to actually engage with the communities and push the message? Because I think that's where we're falling short, is people actually coming together, rallying behind the message. And then I think the second one for me was, does the association have plans to, or are there plans, or are you going to initiate plans to actually hold these type of meetings in the different regions? Because I think that would be very beneficial if you're not already doing so. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, look, there are plans in place to reach out and to go to those communities. We're not following the normal mainstream system of calling it branches, etc., etc. But there is a process. There are representatives from the different areas, that's looking after a certain area. So it's not like a branch kind of a system, because, again, we're only in eThekwini. We're not in the whole province. So for us to manage that process is very simple. And yeah, we are looking for community leaders, good community leaders in the different areas, because what we're looking for is activists. We want people who care for their communities. We are not looking for career politicians. So if you are out there and you want, or you have the desire, or you already have been assisting your community, then we'd like to talk to you. And I'm hoping you're one of them as well. So, go for it.
Okay. Good evening. Okay, I hope you can hear me. Am I audible? Okay, I'm audible. Good evening. My name is Hlengiwe Mzimela. Call me a rate payer. I've owned a home for about 5 years here in Westville. What I can say is it ends up feeling as if you're working just to pay off a bond, and that's literally where I am right now. But now let's come to the ideal case. Let's say that the municipality hears us out regarding the rates, waters, etc. But you still have that deficit which you've been owing. What happens to that? And let's say, we're good citizens. We want to, we're good citizens and we want to pay off that debt. How do you pay it off? I'll just mention a step that I took. to do that. I'm not sure, maybe they might have changed it. I just want to highlight, I feel like it's a flaw within the system, and it just seems like a money-making scheme to me, to be honest. So you go to municipality. Municipality said I owe 30. First of all, they charged me about 18,000 for electricity for 1 month, of which I questioned. I said, I mean, there's no way, even if I had like 4 people in one house, you know, it just doesn't make sense. Went to Martin West said they can't help you, you just need to pay. Fine. I questioned that, even sent emails, fine, lo and behold, someone responded. I went through all of my statements for like about a year, and they were able to pick up the amount of electricity that I use, as well as the amount of money that I spent, and then fine. They credited me back about, I believe, just under 20,000, just under 20,000. But then, and then they started doing this meter thing as if they were reading meters. I sent it and then it stopped. Anyway, to cut a long story short, we went back to that, I call it boo-boo of theirs, and then all of a sudden, they charged me 10,000 for water now. Now it seems like they're making up for the money they lost. It's just a game, it's just a game. Now you're at 34,000, and I'm still questioning, how did we get there? Fine, I went to Martin West. I said, you know what, let me just pay this off. How do I go about it? They told me you have, they gave you different options to pay it off, but there has to be this lump sum that you pay first before you can even sign that document saying, I'm willing to pay. Fine, I paid that 5,000. And then the problem now is they tell you, no, you need to pay your rates, lights, and water, and this agreement, yes, installment. But now there's the catch, which is where I believe the flaw is, and that's why I say it's a money-making scheme. Obviously, your water and lights fluctuate. And then you also have that agreement that you said you're going to pay. Now, if you're going to put it together and not separate it and say, this is what you owe, and this is what you're supposed to pay monthly, it doesn't make sense. So let's say together your rates, lights, and water, I'm just making an example, rates, lights, and water, sanitation, about 5,000. And you have that loan where you agreed, they said maybe it's like an installment of 1,000. So 5,000 plus 1,000. Fine, you pay it. Now the 5,000 goes to 6,000, 7,000. You're not coping with the 7 and 8,000, but you are paying that 1,000, but it doesn't register to them. So now it's null and void. That's how that agreement becomes null and void, and you go back to owing the municipality, and they start charging you for areas, which is where we're at right now. I'm honestly not willing to go to municipality and say, listen, I'm willing to pay. Rather, they let them charge me. That's where I am right now, because what is the math? The math is not making sense, and no one at the municipality can explain how they came sense to it. Thank you.
You are not the only one that's being frustrated by the municipality insofar as that is concerned. So, yeah. And for many people, they will enter into this credit agreement and sign the acknowledgement of debt, not realizing you have to pay your current bill plus that amount that you've agreed to pay. And should you not pay the full amount, you basically broke the contract, and then they bring the entire amount back into the system. And to your point, you then get frustrated because you work so hard, you're paying off a bond, and the rest of it is going to the municipality. There's absolutely nothing left for you. So then you decide, hey, what must I do? Must I pay my municipal bill, or what must I do? And then you end up being in that situation. You say, hey, just bugger it. I'll just carry on with my life. And that's why the municipality's debt is increasing. Now, how do we fix this? We can't fix it in this room. We can't. Those decisions and the resolutions and the solutions are in council. It's not here. It's not here. We as the activist movement, we can't find those solutions. It's the councillors in council who need to table these motions and put it on the agenda to say, what is the solution? And they're not doing this. They're not doing it. Sadly, they're not doing it. And that's the problem that we find. But we're running out of time, and we've spoken a lot. I just want to say that as the association, as the movement, we more than likely will be doing these 2 campaigns. A massive protest campaign. I'm not talking few hundred, I'm talking couple of hundred, maybe hopefully 100,000. But a good amount of people in terms of the protest campaign. And what I'm asking from you guys that are here, to please support us in that protest campaign. We are in discussions with some organizations to ensure that it is a success. And I want you to trust us and support us in that campaign. Support this leadership in that regard. I want to see you guys there with us in the front, with that organization, marching to City Hall and demanding a review of this budget, or at least give us an opportunity to give you input on this budget. Should that fail, and they don't listen to us, I'm asking you for your support in a diversion campaign. And again, I'm saying, many of you trusted us and went with us. And there were many people who asked us 1,000 questions and said, you're going to take our money and run. We didn't take your money and run. I'm asking you to take this message to those individuals. Support us in the diversion campaign. Give us the opportunity to be the voice for you, to demand accountability from the city. And the only way we can do it is through the diversion campaign. Hit them where it hurts the most. Hit them where it hurts the most. Councillors won't like what we're saying because they won't get paid their salaries. And yeah, some workers won't get paid. We understand that. Guys, I know I feel for those workers who won't get paid. But are those workers feeling for us when we can't feed our families? They're not feeling for us. So it's a two-way street. As much as they are going to be punished and they will suffer, we are suffering on a daily basis. There's people here that the only amount of income they get is a 350 Rand SRD grant. What can you buy with 350 Rand? Absolutely nothing. So that's my message to you guys. If there's any further questions, I'm happy to take it. The rows will close. Thank you very much. Yes. Yeah, we do. So we are made up of a group of other ratepayers associations, or we're made up of some representatives in other areas. So we take it both ways. But we also, this year, took direct membership. So meaning if you stayed in La Lucia as an example, you can become a member of Erpm directly, not through an association or whatever. So we've done that. Insofar as our membership is concerned, we've got members from Verulam, Tongaat, Phoenix, Chatsworth, Morningside, Upper Highway, Sapphire Coast. We've got some in the townships as well. And then obviously Westville, Berea, Musgrave, Overport, Asherville. Yeah, most areas we do have.
What you're saying tonight is your movement can bring these different type of associations together and members that are directly
Yes,
affiliated with your organization can do that.
yes,
Because that's what's really needed. I think the big word is unity for tonight.
yes.
So if we can get that right, then we can actually get that critical mass
Right.
of what you do and what you are asking for in terms of activism as well.
And to your point as well, Mr. Naidu, yes, we've had roadshows, we've engaged, we've had public meetings in Phoenix, in Chatsworth. We're going down to, oh yeah, we did our Curry's protest last year, but more recently, so this year we've been quite busy in terms of public engagements. We'll be in Toti on the 19th. We'll be in Reservoir Hills pretty soon as well. We're just waiting for some clarity. But before we take any more questions or close, I just wanted we had a question about what are the proposed tariff increases. And I think this is important for you guys to know. And they're small numbers to start with, but please let's remember that these tariff increases come on the back of last year's tariff increases, which came on the back of the previous year's tariff increases, and they've all been pretty much in the double digits. So what's in store for us, and don't get depressed, right? I'm available, call me anytime, I'll talk to you. Don't let this like take you south. But electricity, they want 10.5% more. For water, we're talking domestic because business also gets kicked in the teeth. But just for your homes, you'll be paying 15% more. For refuse removal, we all remember the black bag gate of the last few months. But anyway, 13% more. Sanitation, 13% more. And over and above your valuation, which has been reviewed for the VAL roll, we're doing 5% on rates as well. On that note, if anybody has any problem downloading your objection forms, please reach out. I'll help you with it. Yes, I see you. I do recognize you. But if you don't have my number, come and get it after the meeting. I'm very happy to help you download your objection form, your Section 49, and offer input as to whether or not you should, in fact, object. So yeah, I wanted to put a dampener on things and let you all know. Can I take another question, Chair, before we close?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tapsi, and I'm from the Westville Ratepayers Association. My comments are, I think we are all aware of the issues that we have. If we aren't, then it's a serious problem. And whatever action we need to take, it has to be a numbers game. If we don't have the numbers, we're not going to succeed. So that's something that's critical. And if it's a protest march or with the holding of electricity monies, I think that the other ratepayer association must indicate what numbers in their communities are going to do what we want done. Otherwise, it's going to be a waste of time. Because I went to that meeting at Curry's Fountain. The numbers there were not very impressive. So I'm going to support whatever action we decide on, but we need to do it in numbers.
Noted.
Thanks.
Okay.
Do you still have a question? Yeah. You're going to swing me all the way around, Brady.
My name is Mike Wood from Ward 10. I don't know if this is the correct platform and whether I'm going to get hung here, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Councillors, they are supposedly the people that hear our voice. Am I correct? So in this platform here tonight, I don't know how many wards are here, But I'd like to ask a question. In this ERPM, in these type of meetings, would it not be conducive that ward councillors also present themselves here? Because as individuals, it's quite a difficult task to go to your individual ward councillor and cry your pity out to them. So I don't know how many wards are here. How many? 4. How many councillors are here, if I may ask? 2. So that's a pretty poor show, isn't it? I'm asking. Please, don't crucify me. But these type of meetings should be where our ward councillors represent us and they can hear the plight of the people that are here. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere. We're going to rely on the likes of you guys and your leadership to try and break through this freaking hard nut that doesn't go anywhere. Sorry if I'm being aggressive, but it's our ward councillors that need to represent us. Am I correct?
So to answer the question, when we initially started off as an association, that used to be the program. We used to invite the councillors to be part of the process so that they could hear. But what we found was when the councillors are having their meetings, they fail to invite us. And more often when you go to those meetings, there's maybe 5 or 6 people. It's not, in fact, we got a better crowd than the councillors. But not to say that what you're saying is incorrect, because as Rose alluded to earlier, there should have been this collaboration between the Ratepayers Association and the councillor, because what we're fighting for and what we get done supports the councillor. It makes the councillor look good. But the councillors didn't see it like that. And that's the sad part. For Westville, there's 4 ward councillors, 2 are ANC and 2 are DA. The DA councillors are present, so give them a round of applause for making their time to be present. What I can do, if you like, I'm happy to give them the space if they want to take the space and address the crowd. I don't want it to be a bashing session. You can bash us, but if you want to put questions to the councillors and if they're willing to take those questions, we're happy to give them the podium. I've had a very good working relationship with Councillor Warren Byrne. He takes my calls, and when I do ask him for stuff, he does do it. I have to acknowledge that. But he's also constrained with time. And many of the times, he's not available to his community, which frustrates his community. And I'm sure it's something he recognizes and he's aware of. So I don't want to get into all of those details, but the fact that they have made time to be here, and if they wish, councillors, I'm happy to give you the space.
I'd be happy to give a perspective. Can I just describe what a ward is? Talk about, I am a ward councillor, Mel's. I'm a ward councillor for Ward 30. Ward 30 starts at Westfield Methodist Church and it goes east. My northern boundary is the Palmead River, which is the Palmead Nature Reserve. Then it includes some of Sherwood, in fact almost all of Sherwood, a place called Habitat for Humanity in Sherwood by Spaghetti Junction. If I go around in a circle, it goes to Mayville, includes the Jesus Dome. I stop at Mall's Tiles, if you know where that is. Then it includes a chunk of Cato Manor and a place called Benella. Comes up Wiggins Road, where the Wiggins Water Treatment Works is. That's just outside the area. And it comes up to the N2, and then it comes up just north of Chesterville, and along a straight line, and then all of Berea West. I've probably got about 30,000 people, resident, 16,500 voters. The delimitation just changes Ward 30 to include this area. Everything north of the N3 is now coming into Ward 30. It is very difficult to attend to everything that everybody contacts you about. Ward 30 in particular is complicated. It's all around Spaghetti Junction, the N2 and the N3. If I have a pothole west of the N2, I speak to an official in Pinetown. If it's east of the N2, north of the N3, then it's an official in North Central Roads Department. If it's east of the N2, south of the N3, it's a person from South Central. It's like that in roads, and stormwater, in Parks Department, in Electricity Department. So it's very difficult to keep everyone happy. We do try and attend to the individual issues, and we try and attend to issues on the go. And I'll tell you my day today. I had an impact meeting from 9:30. Our agenda was altogether the paperwork about that thick. We finished that at about 1 o'clock, went from there straight to a budget meeting and the presentation to ward councillors of the capital items per the ward. And for Ward 30 people who might be here, it's very disappointing for Ward 30. There's no capital, virtually no capital expenditure in Ward 30. Then I went to, it was a DA meeting at 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, and then we came rushing here. So I haven't answered any phone calls. I've done very little WhatsApp messages, which I'll catch up on in the evening. So it's actually very difficult. Asad, I know you say that we should just table these things at council and get these things solved with the proposals. It's very difficult to get a motion on the council agenda. You're limited to 150 words, and they get rejected for the most spurious reasons. It's not easy being a ward councillor, but we do it for the love of the game, the same love that Rose is talking about. My father was a councillor in the city many years ago, and my brothers and sisters say, "Why do you do it, Warren? It's so frustrating. We hear it in your voice." And I say, it's because it's in my genes. My dad wanted to make the city run better in his era. I want to make the city run better. Our heartbeats are much the same. It's a question of style and technique. That's the difference. Mel, I don't know if you want to add anything.
Thank you, Warren. Is there a question?
I'm happy to take a question. Sorry, I didn't want
No
to.
questions, okay.
Just putting the practicalities across.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, Asad, Rose, everybody else. Protocols observed. My name is Melanie Bradiseth. I am the ward councillor for Ward 18. Now, Ward 18, I don't have the challenges like Warren does, where he has to go to 4 different sectors of the city to get things done. I am fortunate as a ward councillor that all my departments are in the west, and I do have access to them, and it doesn't have to be split. But let me tell you where Ward 18 is. But before I do that, I just want to explain. You hear Westville, okay? Do you know that Westville is split into 4? 4. You've got Ward 24, which is your CBD, in Chesterville. You've got Warren, which is basically Westville Boys Down. You've got then Ward 18, which is from not the KFC robots, but the robots below on Roger Shishi going up there. Okay? And then you've got Picklockery area. That's also Westville. So it's split into 4. So when people say you're Westville councillor, you've got to state where you live, because that impacts where you're getting the information from. Okay. So when people say, but I'm not the ward councillor for Westville, they go, what do you mean? Because of that. People are not aware of it. People need to go and vote. Right, so Ward 18, Roger Shishi going straight up, going all the way around into the CBD of Pinetown. CBD, not Westmead, not the industrial areas, further that side, the CBD. Okay? Then you're going through to Farmingham Ridge. So Farmingham Ridge is on the other side of Caversham. Then you're going through to Hatton Estate. And then you're going through to Sarnia, which is you talking about Ward 63. I'm on the border of Ward 63 on the Moseley side. And then I have obviously Cowies Hill. I'm missing an area. I can't think right now. That's how big. And my residence is about 24,000, I think it is. And only about 14 are voting. So that's how big my ward is. So Westville is just one particular VD, one area. So when people say about getting hold of the councillors, I have ways of getting hold of me. I do have my activists, I do have my admins on my group, and I'm on my phone constantly, like we're in meetings, we try to respond while we're in meetings. We are constantly in meetings, and it's actually frustrating to be in a meeting because I am now the deputy chairperson of our caucus, therefore I have to pay even more attention to the actual meeting. So it's not like I can sit there in my meetings and answer all the WhatsApps, like many other people do. So it is a challenge for us. So when I receive over 150 personal, directly to me WhatsApps, and then another 50, 60 on other groups, you can't get to every single WhatsApp every single day. So you may get a 2 or 3 day lag. And then the point being is you've got to sift through and you've got to find those urgent ones and try and get those urgent ones out as quickly as possible. And then we can get back to the ones that are not so urgent, but you need to give feedback. So yes, it's a challenge. And the more people that help us, the better. Do you understand that as a ward councillor, service delivery has become our job? It's 80% of our time because of the dysfunctional municipality. They don't believe in maintenance. If things are working, then why fix it? As a result, our infrastructure is failing. Westville knows with how Wickham at the moment, with the Southern Aqueduct going through there, they're having water issues every single day. We have Shongweni. I was in Shongweni. You know the heart of, do you know where Shongweni Market is? Go further down, go down the hill and go up a hill. Do you know they don't have water at all? That community does not have water. So there are bigger issues. So when people say they don't have electricity, we've got the processes for a couple of hours, we give updates. But we've got to bear in mind, it's a big city. There are 211 wards. There will be 212 wards. Okay? So when you've got an issue, it's not just your ward, it's bigger picture.
112 wards, 220 councillors,
Yes.
because there's ward councillors for each ward, and there's a PR councillor, so it's 222
Yeah.
councillors.
So 222 councillors split into a lot of parties, seats in council. And a lot of the work is actually not done in council, it's actually done in the committees. The work is actually done in the committees, and then at council, it's rectified. It's then official. So a lot of the work is done in committees. As committees, we do oversights, constantly doing oversights, checking. That is our role. We are an oversight. That's what we do. We go out. If there's an issue, we go out to a certain area. If there's a hall that's collapsing, we'll go and do an oversight. Why is it collapsing? 9 times out of 10, because at the end of the day, the budget is not enough to repair halls. They haven't repaired any kind of hall in 30 years. Ceilings are collapsing, floors are collapsing, fire hydrants are not working, doors are not working. That is just one issue. So we are an oversight. And the more people give us information to do those oversights and work with associations, and I'm very willing to work, I really am, we can actually achieve a lot. But remember, it's not just a local issue that we've got to talk about, it's the bigger picture. And it's not just eThekwini, it's the entire country. Because what happens here is happening in other constituencies, in other municipalities, all over the country. But if we work together, we can achieve a lot. And yes, our rates, we don't agree with the rates. We don't agree with the double digits as our party from the DA. We do not agree with it. We never vote for the budget, ever. So we can work together and we can achieve a lot if we just talk to each other. It's amazing if we just talk to each other. I don't know if there's anything else or any questions. Yes.
We have now had to formulate the ERPM, and again, please don't crucify me, is ERPM are now voicing what let me not specifically point to councillors, is you obviously aren't being heard as councillors because we aren't going anywhere. I think most of us here, we are fighting for fair rates,
Yep.
fair water,
Yep.
fair electricity, the three
Yep.
most important topics that we are, I think, fighting for. Okay, so if you aren't being heard into council, you mentioned 58, I'm in the water game. Okay, so between 47 and 60% of non-revenue water, of that some goes to the community. There is a maintenance budget that is put forward. So I question you people as councillors. That maintenance budget, you guys are accountable for holding the council liable of where that maintenance, I'm in that game, and I do it every single day of my life. I walk into pump stations, sewage pump stations, freshwater pump stations. There is no maintenance. But where's the line item for the budget for maintenance? So you guys, not ERPM, I'm not a member, I'm going to become a member because I'm passionate about what I do. You guys are our voice to make sure that we find out where that maintenance is going to. If you can't tell us we've been robbed, it's corruption. It's disappearing down the drain. So it's your guys' responsibility. You voted as councillors. You need to come back to ERPM and explain to them where that line item is. If you can't, sorry, then you're not doing your job.
Yes, the answer to that is we are not ignored totally. They do listen in committee. I can show you in the oversight report, for example, which is the councillors responding to what the Auditor General found about the municipality admin does the annual report and performance reports. The Auditor General looks at it, they come up with queries, they send those to management. Management then responds to the Auditor Generals, and all of that comes to the Municipal Public Accounts Committee, the committee I sit on, and we do an oversight report. And I can show you the content in that report, which me and the two other councillors. So,
I'm going to interrupt you. 7 years, a budget has gone out. I'm not going to mention the pump station. 7 years it goes to budget. For 7 years, nothing has happened in that pump station. In actual fact, it's got worse. So my question is, if there's a budget, and every year it goes to tender, and the tender is never awarded, what has happened to that money that they are budgeting for that pump station?
okay. No, good point. Please give us the facts. We'll call for a reported impact, and we'll see what the explanation is. And
go back to ERPM and put a line item there on maintenance. That's where we need to start. That's where it's got to start. Here in this ERPM, you guys need to show us the line item on maintenance.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think we've come to the end of it. We appreciate your time. If there are any further questions, I'm happy to take them directly. If
Robin, I'm going to give you the mic.
Speaking to the mic. I'll try. I'm Robin from Upper Highway. I've been involved with ERPM since its inception. Okay. We've watched waves up and down. We've done all sorts of things to try and fix things along the way. The one time we did have a diversion of funds from the whole of eThekwini. How many? 530,000 approximately ratepayers. We got 226. Am I correct? Just under, yeah. 3 years ago, wasn't it? We did a diversion, and that's what supported ERPM, to try and bring the municipality into some sort of accountability, okay? So I would just like to ask from the people that are here tonight, if we had to, which I support, a diversion, I definitely do, from you all here, would you all support it? Show of hands. So most of you, the majority, would support it. Now, would you be prepared to go out and actually talk to your neighbors, your roads, your streets, your captains, whatever you want to call them, wherever? Would you be prepared to go out and speak and talk and push it? Didn't you do the diversion, Jeff? Yeah, here's one of our people that did the diversion. A complex, yeah? Would you still be able to do it? Is that what you're saying? If you're in a complex. You get your own separate bills, don't you? If you get your bill, you can hold your funds back. And it's not about putting your money into somebody else's account. It would be holding it back yourself. Keeping it for yourself. Holding it back for a month. We're not asking you to put that money into somebody else's account. Yeah. The last time it was going into a trust, not a trust,
So we have the mechanisms to be able to divert, as Asad explained earlier. The strength in diverting into a single account is the ability to prove to the city that it's not that we're not paying. Your money's here, come fetch it, right? That's number one. Number two, we've got the street cred to pull it off because not a cent was not paid back to the city, despite being debunked and having misinformation thrown around. Communities were like, oh, you can't do this, they'll take away your house. They won't. They won't, they didn't. Nobody lost the house in the diversion campaign of 2023. So there's a lot of fear. We received backlash from political parties simply because they were, oh, this is unlawful, you can't do this. Obviously, their salaries were on the line, but I mean, quite frankly, if you're going to use the unlawful arguments on us, please account for all the fruitless and wasteful expenditure that you are overseeing. And I know that's a little bit tit for tat, but maybe it's time.
Yeah.
But in terms of a diversion campaign, we support anybody withholding on your own. But if our association were to manage that process for you, we would have our legal team on standby. We've learned a lot from the last campaign. We won't be making the same mistakes. There is no reward without sacrifice. So if one or two of you get disconnected, live with it for a day, we'll settle that up and we'll carry on. But effectively, we've done it before. We did it very professionally, and we paid every cent back, including the interest that accumulated on those accounts. So, this time round, we're going to be rolling things out a little bit differently, so stand by, because we do have a system, we've got an approach, we've got a plan, and we've got legal counsel. Jeff?
I think it's much more effective if it's done the same way as it was done before.
I agree with you. Yeah. Trust me, I sat at the release end function of paying the city back. We withheld just under 3 million. Hi there, sorry, hi. Warren, would you like to have a separate meeting? May I finish my sentence? Thanks. So, with withholding, I completely lost my train of thought. I'm going to hand over to Asad while I just calm down. Thanks.
Warren, you have a question? I like the moral question. I like the moral question. Let me answer it. I like the moral question, and it's a very good question coming from the councillor. But to answer your question, I'm going to get straight to the point. So we are objecting to the tariff increase. And because we are objecting to the tariff increase, what we're then saying is we'll pay the city the old tariff and we'll withhold that tariff increase portion. So that is the strategy behind that. What Warren is asking is because in terms of clarity, if you want to bring the city to a standstill, then the idea would be to withhold the full amount, because that would have an impact. If we're only withholding the tariff increase, you're only holding a small portion, which is the 10%, 12%, and whatever. And that impact may not be quite strong. But from an association point of view, we needed to see what the appetite would be for such a campaign, and we would then come back to you, because we have been deliberating on that aspect insofar as us holding back the full amount. And then there's the moral question that's being put to us to say, but you use the water, why are you not paying for it? And we're saying, but we're paying you, you're not giving us service, so where's the morality in that? So you know, when these questions get put to us, it makes me very cross, because that's the argument that the councillors need to be fighting for us in council, to say, but these people have been paying, they've always been paying, they've been diligent, but you're not giving them services. Where's that morality question? Where is it? So don't throw that at us. So this was done to us previously, and again I'm saying, guys, we will then guide you to say whether it's the full amount, and again, there's legal implications if we do. But again, like we've always said, there isn't any reward without sacrifice. And in a revolution, we're not asking you to give your life. We're not asking you to sell your house. But a revolution needed to take place in this country for it to change. And if there is a revolution that needs to happen now, then it needs to happen. But we can't allow the status quo to continue. We can't have line items in the budget that can't speak to what you're talking about. Because what we're also then saying is, and you can ask any councillor anywhere in eThekwini, tell me what's your revenue stream for your ward. And tell me how much of that revenue is being spent in your ward. They can't give you that information. They'll tell you the municipality doesn't share that information with us. So if you are the councillor for a particular ward, you should know, hey, there's my ward brings in 20 million, 30 million. Of that 30 million, 8 million or 10 million is coming back into my ward. In my ward, I've got so many pump stations and reservoirs. When was the last time a pump station in my ward was serviced? Why was it not serviced? Why is money not being set aside? We shouldn't be sitting in a situation where we're saying 7 years. In fact, we've got 8 wastewater treatment plants in eThekwini that are not working, not functioning. Now, if you can't process the waste in your city, it tells you something. It's telling you something. And if you know all the items in your ward, as a ward councillor, this is my main road. Why has it not been surfaced? But what you'll see happening is that a side road in that ward will get resurfaced and the main road won't get resurfaced. You're asking, but who took this decision? Shouldn't the councillors be guiding the department in this? Or is it just on autopilot? Whatever, but it would seem as though it's on autopilot. And some of the main roads, I mean, this King's Avenue as an example, I don't think it has been resurfaced or it's been fixed, plastered, potholed for the last, 15, 20 years now it's going. It's unacceptable. And what we're also saying, guys, and we're clear on this, we are not opposed to addressing imbalances of the past. That's not what we're talking about. And many of you sitting here would have said, let's go back to the borrow system. Because whatever money is collected in Westville, we can put it back into Westville, and we don't need that amount, whatever they're putting on the budget, we only need a quarter. But let us manage it, and we will ensure and we'll show you that we can run this better, and the extra you can take it and go and do what you like. But that's not happening. And those conversations need to be loud in those subcommittees, in MPAC. And that's the other issue as well. We have a department or a subcommittee called the Municipal Public Account Committee. It's such a fuss. Because who's sitting on that committee? It's the very same councillor who's sitting in council. The police is policing himself. How does that make sense? When we go to them and say, we as an organization, we should be sitting on MPAC, they say you can come sit and observe, but you can't make input. You're not a decision maker on that committee. How then did that legislation pass in Parliament? It doesn't make sense. There needs to be an organization, or there needs to be that power that you, me, associations like ours have over this municipality. Because if we don't, this is what we have. Thank you guys. We can stand here the whole night.
If anybody needs help with the evaluation objections, please come and chat to me. I've cracked the municipal code. It's actually quite simple. They make it more difficult than it is.